My zero concerns about the Philadelphia Eagles. As you know, I've been floating in air over the Eagles over the last several days because of what I saw on Sunday and how they dispatched a pretty good Pittsburgh Steelers team. And then I related back to how they dispatched a pretty good Ravens team. And I go, this team is without question the best team in the NFC. And I would be wholly disappointed if they didn't get to the Super Bowl. In fact, that would be one of the biggest devastations in Philadelphia sports history for me. They'll be right in there. Top 5, maybe. But there are people out there who are afraid and who don't trust. So I want to engage the folks today. Eagle fans, this is like we want to put you on the couch today. I have zero concern with this team. But I know the fan base still has concerns. I mean, it goes without saying that this fan base really expects the worst to happen. I have been trying to dispel that for many years. I've been very unsuccessful in doing so. But today, maybe we can talk about it. Maybe we can crack that seal that prevents you from getting to the other side, from getting through the abyss to the portal. I need to get you on the record and you voice your concerns. Now, I'm not telling you that your concerns are illegitimate. If you can make a good case to be concerned, then we'll talk about it and we'll talk you through it. I would love to find something. Believe me when I tell you that I'm great at finding little cracks. And I look at this team and I go, I can't find the crack. I'm sorry. I can't find a crack. I try to measure this team against the other teams, against the teams that maybe would challenge them to get to the big game in the NFC, and I can't find anything. And to me, it would take a monster upset, a monster fluke for a lesser team to beat this Eagle team. And I'm even including the Detroit Lions in that because the Detroit Lions are not the same Lions. Had the Detroit Lions been at full strength, maybe I would have a different perspective on this thing. But for me, they're not on the same level anymore. And I'm not buying the Minnesota Vikings. I'm not buying the Green Bay Packers. And I'm not buying the Tampa Bay Buccaneers or all these teams I believe that are lesser than the Philadelphia Eagles. And I don't know what could possibly happen in an NFC title game. No matter where it is, let's just give them the benefit of the doubt and say it would be in Detroit or say it would be in Minnesota. And I can't see anything that would prevent the Eagles from getting to the big game. Now, you say, okay, turnovers. Well, the Eagles don't turn the ball over anymore. The quarterback doesn't turn the ball over anymore. You say, well, maybe they can get bashed on defense. No, nobody's going to bash this team on defense. The special team, I don't know, a 100-yard kickoff return is going to break the game open? Maybe. That's a fluke. But on an even playing field, there's nowhere that any team can match or overpower the Eagles to prevent them from winning the NFC. That's a bold statement. And I know people out there, Mike, you're jinxing them. I'm just telling you what it is, okay? I'm being as honest as possible with you. If that scares you, well, I apologize. But if it scares you, I need you now to tell me why it scares you, why you would be concerned. What area would you be concerned about with the Philadelphia Eagles not getting to the Super Bowl? What are your fears? Bring them out to the surface. Let them bubble to the top. And we'll deal with them. We'll scrape it off the top. And maybe by the end of our conversation, you'll feel a little better. I know there are people out there that are concerned. Don't lie to me. Nobody's out there saying, no, I've got 100% agree with Mike. How many of the 50% of the fan base may agree with me. There's another 50% that are always scared that something bad will happen. But there's a difference between thinking something bad will happen and a concern of yours. All right? So that's two different things. If you want to think and go into the old Philadelphia mindset that the sky can fall on them, all right, knock yourself out. But I want a legitimate concern on why you think that would happen. Is that clear enough? Bill Colarulo's with me. Ray Dunn's with me. Is that clear enough for the people, Bill?
I think it's very clear. And, look, I read all the comments underneath of our Instagram videos, our Twitter posts, all that stuff. And I could probably spew right now 10 different concerns that I have heard from Eagles fans over the last couple of weeks, even though they just dominated the Steelers game, even though they've won 12 games in a row. 10 games in a row. I know there are fans out there that have these concerns, but let me dispel one right now that I have had. I was saying a couple of weeks ago that one of my major concerns was if this team continues to win and they don't get the first round bye, that would mean they would have to win 17 straight games to win the Super Bowl.
You have been very nervous about that concept.
I was nervous about having to win 17 straight games to win the Super Bowl. I am no longer nervous, and here's why. Losing a game can sometimes force you to look inward and you refocus your team going forward. That happened already. Even though the Philadelphia Eagles didn't lose to the Carolina Panthers, they played a bad game. From all accounts, it was one of their worst games of the season during this winning streak. Then there was all the drama that ensued after with AJ and Jalen and all the stuff that Brandon Graham said. That week, to me, even though it wasn't a loss in the standings, it did the same thing that a loss would do. It forced them to look inward. It forced the Philadelphia Eagles to focus on an area that we all felt could be a weakness, the passing game, and they're better because of it. So I no longer look at it as 17 straight wins because that Carolina Panthers week, that was like a loss week. That was like a week that you look inward after a loss. So that's a concern that I am dispelling now. But maybe people don't agree with that. Maybe people have the same concern I used to have. But, Mike, there's a lot of them, man. There's like 10 things that I could say right now.
All right, just give me another one. Like, what could possibly be people be concerned about? People say this to me all the time. Well, Mike, you said the same thing about the Phillies. I get all kinds of feedback. You said, don't worry about the Phillies. Well, the Phillies were a good team, right? What influences baseball that doesn't influence football? It's whether you can hit or not. All right? There are times when you see really good baseball teams just fall apart at the plate because one at-bat leads to another bad at-bat, and then you lose your confidence and you lose your perspective. And it's more the pitcher influencing the hitter. In football, that does not happen. If you are sound in every area, like a fluke would have to happen. In baseball, it's not a fluke that good pitching would beat good hitting. But in football, a fluke would have to. You would have to play totally out of character if you're the better team, measured against the other teams. So let's measure it. The Eagles are inherently better than any other team that's going to be in this conference. So what's going to happen? What, a hot pitcher is going to shut you out? Like that doesn't work that way.
There are other things. Now look, this is
what are they?
All right, this is me playing devil's advocate. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about Nick Sirianni for a second. I am not worried about him. But people who watched him under a very close eye in the New Orleans Saints game, in the Jacksonville Jaguars game, watched him make decisions that we all left scratching our heads saying, what the hell is Nick doing? Now, thankfully, since the Jaguars game, there hasn't really been any in-game decisions that Nick Sirianni had to make where it could go either way. Maybe the punt instead of going for a field goal where they pinned the team. It was at the Ravens game where they pin him deep. But I guarantee you there are still people out there who maybe are concerned that Sirianni makes a boneheaded decision in the playoffs that would lose him. I'm not worried about that. That's something Dan Campbell will do. That's not something Nick Sirianni will do in the playoffs. But that's one.
Hell yeah.
The other thing is, and again, playing devil's advocate, not saying I feel this way, the passing game still ranks 28th. We saw Jalen Hurts play one good game against the Steelers, and all of us left saying, passing game's fixed. Well, was it just one game? Can we say that it's fixed after just one game?
Listen, you look at that number and you put too much emphasis on it. What we have to look at is whether he can succeed and make big plays and make big throws. And he can. And I don't care what that number says. With the one bad game I write off was against Carolina. I know what the mindset is of that team going in to play Carolina. I don't have that fear anymore with Jalen Hurts. He's not going to dazzle me. I put him in perspective, but he's going to make enough plays to win games.
I'm with you. I'm on board. I think Jalen showed me enough.
That's a fake concern.
I'm reading the Instagram comments that we get under our videos, and there are people saying to me, why are you saying Jalen Hurts is fixed already? It was one game, and all he did was dink and dunk down the field.
What does fixed mean? Like, before people get to the concept of being fixed, you got to go, he's broken. Has he ever been a broken quarterback? I mean, he hasn't dazzled, but he hasn't been a broken quarterback.
He hasn't been a broken quarterback except for against Todd Bowles' defense.
Oh, here we go.
So are people concerned about Tampa?
With Tampa Bay. All right, we're going to talk about this. I'm serious. I need the Eagle fans to get out of their womb here and tell me what these concerns are. We're gonna address them. And if you have concern, if your concern is legit, and to you it is legit, we'll talk through it. 610-632-0975. I have a pragmatic view of all this. If they lose, I'll go, well, so I can't explain it. Because going in there, they were the best team possible. And if they lose, it'll be a fluke. And then I'll deal with it. 610-632-0975. Mike Missanelli Show continues.
Hey, everybody, it's Bill Colarulo. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Make sure you like and subscribe to our channel so you can engage during the show, and you're not going to want to miss all the content that we post. It's not only the live videos. It's videos after the fact. It's our shorts. It's all the content you want as a Philadelphia sports fan. Looking forward to connecting.